So talk about the threat being ramped up to 11. Not only did Seichi and Saria begin to do their tests, which were extremely easy by the guild's kind of like statures that they have, go collect some herbs to defeat some slimes, but they were suddenly beamed into the Black Dragon's dungeon. And now they're going to have to face one of the demon lord's like top ranking people that he has in his army, or I guess monsters that he has in his army, or she has in her army, whatever the demon lord is. And it has been ramped up to 11. So this episode basically has Seichi and Saria go through with Arteria and go through the test, go through the slime stuff, go through the herb collection. Seichi at some point in the episode met these people who worked for the demon lord, little beknownst to him because he was just searching for herbs and whatnot. And he met these people who worked for the demon lord's army, and he didn't know any of this obviously, but he met them. They were talking about the plans to invade the human continent and stuff like that on the human plane. And Seichi kind of overheard them, but he was really just trying to find herbs, and they ended up attacking him. He basically solo-shotted them. He took out their troll, and then they reported back to, I'll call her Whip Lady, because I don't know what her name was yet, or I forget what her name was, but Whip Lady, who has a picture of her with her whip. I mean, I love Whip Lady. Whip Lady is top-notch. I really like Whip Lady quite a bit, but they would go report to Whip Lady. She basically gives them 500 slashes, but we also get revealed that they put teleports or portals everywhere for other things to be ported or teleported to the Black Dragon's dungeon. And when she finds out about that, she's like, RIP to anybody who gets kind of like beamed over there. Obviously, that hit a flag, and we knew that Seichi and them would get ported over there. Well, during their slide mission, they end up getting teleported over there because Arteria steps on one of the teleports on accident. They get put into the dungeon, and then, of course, right as soon as they get in the dungeon, they get split. Arteria fights her way through all of the dungeon and finally makes her way to the Black Dragon, gets her ass beat, and that's where I'll leave off. Now, Seichi and Saria, they go through the dungeon. They get kind of like misguided. They get lost. They come across a treasure chest, and the treasure chest had the saddest story ever. The treasure chest was no longer needed in this world, and because of that, because the inventory sack was created, because of that, it grew arms and legs and the ability to cast magic because it was just so sad. And regardless, Seichi basically flicked it and it died. And they learned the history of it, and they got some new items as well. Then the guide stone actually lit up and found its way to them through a wall. Seichi was able to break through the wall, I'm assuming. We're probably going to get that next episode on how he actually broke through the wall and stuff. But they were able to make it in time to save Arteria, and that's where we got left off on this week with that cliffhanger. There's a preview for this week, obviously, but I won't go into that. We're just going to go into it next week. But that's kind of where we got left off on as far as like the cliffhanger with them saving Arteria. We know they're going to be able to save her in some way. She was punctured right in the middle, but hopefully they're going to be able to save her with healing magic and stuff like that, of course, because she's obviously one of the main characters within the anime. But that's essentially where we got left off. So far, like, I think this episode was really, really good. It was really, really funny. The chest piece really, really set me off. I was like, oh my god, what a freaking story that they're creating here. I thought that was hilarious. I also love how, like, the anime's being ramped up to 11. And what I mean by that is now we're being introduced to there's a threat, there's a demon lord, there's a demon lord's army, and they're going to be facing off against like the people who work for the demon lord, including the dragon, including the whip lady, and there'll probably be others. Now, will they end up being allies? Will they end up defeating them? Will they end up defeating them and begin destroying the demon lord's army without even knowing, and then being the saviors of the world, and the class people are going to be completely useless and unneeded? Because we know last episode the class folks were training to go face 𝐒𝐮𝐲𝐽, and Seichi again overcame 𝐒𝐮𝐲𝐽, no problem. So they were training for nothing. So what's going to happen this week? What's going to happen, not this week, what's going to happen this arc here with the demon lord? Is that what they're training towards now? And is Seichi just going to ruin them without even knowing it, just by accident? I guess we're all just going to find out together. But overall, really great episode, really funny. I definitely say this was a big step up. The last two episodes were a big step up from like the first two. There's a lot of comedic effects. It doesn't ebb and flow. It's like, I'm a 6 anime, I'm a 8 anime, I'm a 6, I'm a 7. Like, it kind of doesn't ebb and flow. But so far, all I can say is, regardless of putting like a score on it, I'm loving it. It is funny. It doesn't take itself seriously. It has all the tropes. It's doing it well. It does the video game story stuff really good. And now Seichi and Saria have this really comedic effect too as well. I'm really, really loving it quite a bit. If you guys want to go check out a reaction, please do. That video is going to be right over here. The one below it, YouTube says it's best for you. And my friends, make sure you guys like and subscribe before you leave. And we'll see you next week for the next episode of Evolution, or the Fruit of Evolution. Peace out.